Back to school is here, and with all the cost of this time of year, you may be feeling the heat. Well, Premier Heating and Air is here to cool things down with great savings and rebates starting at $1,000 on a new heating and air system. Plus, you can choose from a free gift of a Wi-Fi thermostat, UV light, or a $100 Visa gift card. Also, Premier's $59 service call includes the first pound of Freon free. Visit PremierHeatingandAir.com and experience the Premier difference, a locally owned and operated company. Hello everyone, we welcome into the studios today Miss Meg Greer. Meg, so glad to have you in the studio. It's always a joy to speak with you and gain some information about some things. So, you know, it's Alzheimer's Awareness Month. We do our telethon for the Lighthouse, and that's a place that's near to your heart, isn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me back. I always enjoy being here. The Lighthouse is just such a wonderful resource for our community, and just really grateful for the services that they provide, and hope that we can help some families who may not know about it, may not know about this disease and what to expect, sort of give them some insights.
Yeah. So we talk about long-term care. We talk about preparing for that point in our life where we have to make some decisions. And I know you're a firm believer in planning.
Yes. Plan to plan, yeah.
Well, there's the old saying, you know, you fail to plan, you plan to fail.
Yes.
And nobody wants to fail. But a lot of us will put off things. A lot of us don't like to talk about getting older. We don't like to think about getting older, but
Sure.
all you have to do is wake up a couple of days, you know, as we age, and and you realize, and hey, you need to do something, but you need to be intelligent, you need to be smart about it, and you need to surround yourself with good advisors, and that's why we're glad to be able to speak with you today about preparing for that point in our life. So many people would say around the age of 50, you need to start looking at your long-range plan for sure. What are you going to do?
I would agree with that. I feel like, you know, first of all, it's my livelihood, so I'm going to tell everybody you need an estate plan. Because if you have young kids, you certainly want to plan for some of those things that we think about. But then definitely as we are aging, as we start to notice maybe our parents or our grandparents aging, I think the reality hits us that we need something in place for ourselves to make sure that we're taken care of and our family members are taken care of. And so, yeah, I would say when your children maybe get to the point that they've graduated from school, that's when I think a lot of people start sort of thinking, okay, this is the next phase of things. Let's think about how that will play out. And then certainly when people reach retirement age, whatever that might look like for you, you know, some people it's in your 60s, some people it's in your 70s, some people that I know it's older than that, and that's great. But you know, as you start to get more to a point where your finances are at a point where you say, okay, I've saved, I have my house, or I have sort of the bigger purchases of things that I'm going to buy in my life for the most part. I kind of have an idea of what my income is going to be. That's when we really can get a good picture of, okay, what do I have? And then what might I need in the future? And we all know that if we are over the age of 75, there's a 1 in 2 chance that I'm going to need some type of long-term care. And by that I mean assisted living or even a nursing home type care, or care in the home that is nursing level care. And so if we know that 1 in 2 people need that type of care, and if we want to live a long life, then we have to say, okay, well, how are we going to pay for that? And that's really what I help families and clients plan for when we're thinking about that. How do we make the best use of our resources to plan for that, to make sure that we're taken care of?
What's the worst downside you could present on not doing anything?
On not having a plan at all.
Not having a plan at all.
So, you know, worst case scenario, and unfortunately I do see this, is, you know, we don't have any type of documentation. We don't have a health care directive, which allows somebody to make health care decisions for us. We don't have a financial power of attorney, which allows someone to make financial decisions for us. And then the will, the last will and testament, to me is certainly important, but it almost becomes secondary to those two things, the health care directive and the power of attorney. So then if I become incapacitated and I don't have any documentation that lets somebody else make decisions for me, I'm in a very vulnerable position. I may not be able to be treated as far as my health care because nobody knows who can make decisions for me. If I am not married, if I don't have children, or if they're not close by, that becomes a very vulnerable position where people don't know what my wishes are for my health care. So that's extremely important. The other that is very important that we see all the time now is who can make financial decisions for me that I trust. If I don't have a power of attorney that names somebody that can do that, then truly somebody could come up, ingratiate themselves, come into my life, say they're helping me, say that I have chosen them to be a caregiver, that they need to get put on my bank accounts. These type of things do happen, and then all of a sudden I've worked all my life, I have maybe Social Security, I maybe have a retirement. All of a sudden somebody who doesn't know me but has come into my life, made me think I can trust them, and I'm in a vulnerable position. Now they're in charge of my finances, and then really bad things can happen. So if we're talking about a worst case thing, a scam like that or a person like that getting involved in my life, that could be a really, truly worst case scenario.
And it happens to people when they're not at their best.
Absolutely.
When poor health or when a little mental or cognitive skills begin to fade, or maybe due to whatever, a fall, medication, just life in general.
Absolutely. I mean, I think a part of it is, our bodies as we age start to weaken a little bit, and our mind, our critical thinking skills can start to weaken a little bit. That could be certainly prior to any type of dementia or Alzheimer's diagnosis. So we need to have a support system around us of people that we trust.
Absolutely.
And for some of us, that can be our family, and it's great. That's wonderful if it is. But that's not always the case for everyone. And so if you're someone who doesn't necessarily have a strong support system, children, grandchildren, people who live close by to you, then it becomes an extremely important decision to make for yourself, to protect yourself, to name somebody who you really trust, who's not going to take advantage of you, but is going to be there for the right reasons to help you. I so often hear from people that they don't want to be a burden to someone else, and so they hesitate to name even a family member, even a child, on a power of attorney document or a health care document, because they say, well, I don't want them to have that pressure on them. But I would come back and say, you're doing the exact opposite. By taking the time, by planning, by putting that structure in place and giving them your wishes, you actually can help relieve some of the burden that those people feel in those stressful situations when they feel like they have to make decisions but they don't have any guidance from you for what you would want.
Yeah, great. Take a short break. We'll be right back with Meg Greer.
The way the world is today,
Go, 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 go.
things just seem so out of control. That's why the things we can control are so important. That's why we're members of our electric co-op. The whole reason the co-op exists is to bring us the electricity we need. So they look out for us. They invest in the best technology you can get, just to keep the power on. Not because they have to. They actually do it because it's the right thing to do.
Lovett Insurance, built on family values that stand the test of time. Business, home, auto. LovettInsurance.com. 478-272-6731. Stop by 510 Bellevue Avenue in Dublin. Lovett Insurance, built on family values. Since 1965, our family has proudly provided physical, occupational, and speech therapy to Dublin, Lawrence County, and surrounding areas. Currently offering physical and occupational therapies, our mission is to work with patients and their families to reach an optimum level of independence. Whether post-sports injury, post-surgery, post-stroke, or just general wear and tear from everyday living, we strive to help you reach your goals and return to what you love doing. Remember, where you go for physical and occupational therapy is your choice. So, when your doctor prescribes it, choose Bass.
You want to know why we ride? Maybe it's because everything looks better with a fresh coat. It's putting on your Sunday best and catching up with old friends. And who doesn't love going into the office? We ride because out here, we can be our true selves, dirt and all. Maybe that's why.
Hey, I'm TJ with Dillon Outdoors and Power Sports, formerly known as Myers Equipment Supply. We are a full-line sales and service dealer for Can-Am Off-Road.
Call Don's Tent Rental for any event in your future. Everything from weddings, reunions, or backyard parties. There's no event too large or too small. Call Don Thompson today at 275-3586 or drop by our showroom for endless ideas. There's no other choice. For your next important event, call Don's Tent Rental, 707 Industrial Boulevard in Dublin.
And we welcome you back. We're talking about planning. We're talking about, right now as a portion of the interview, maybe some type of dementia. Many of us have senior citizens in our life. We have people that we see through our church, extended family, through our immediate family that we deal with, and they may have a little cloudy vision sometimes. And you hear, oh, she repeats, oh, he repeats, oh, can't find, told me this, didn't he, and there's some things, we all do that to a point.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I have a 3-year-old. I do it all the time. Why did I walk in this room?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
So.
But you get that concern, and so you get to that point, and maybe it develops into some type of dementia. Maybe it slowly starts into it. What are proactive things that we can do, and preactive that we can do to make sure when you get to that point? Now, you said earlier before we took a break, you should plan for someone to help you make the decisions that you make ahead of time. You make the decisions. You just say, hey, Meg, here's what we're going to do, or hey, Ron, you're the child that I'm choosing to take care of this for me. And you're removed enough to handle it. And I think it's wise in many situations to find someone who maybe isn't a child, or maybe isn't the grandchild, or just find the one that maybe a little bit more can remove themselves from the emotional part that is so heavy, and look at it like, I'm doing what they want. This is the right thing to do.
I think that's a great point. So before I kind of go back to your initial question about, like, if we have a diagnosis, or even what can we do before a diagnosis, I want to just touch on what you're just speaking about, which is naming those decision makers. So often people want, like, all of their kids to be the person, the executor, the agent, the power of attorney, the person making the healthcare decisions. And that can prove very challenging for any number of reasons. Logistically, if everybody doesn't live here, or if somebody is working versus maybe they don't have as demanding of a work schedule, whatever the case may be, there are logistical reasons why it is difficult to have multiple people, that we have to have them all agree, maybe all physically be present somewhere, or all sign something on a document. That can just be really challenging. With that said, I want everybody communicating. I don't want necessarily somebody to just full steam ahead, we're making all the decisions and we're not telling anybody what's going on. I don't think that's great for the family relationship. But at the same time, I think to have a decision maker, if I could ideally give an ideal scenario, a single person making a decision, if they can't, if they are unavailable, if they are incapacitated, then we have a backup, an alternate, at least one. I like to have 3 layers. If you're just asking my personal preference of 3 possible people. Now, not everybody has 3 possible people that they trust that emphatically, and I understand that. But, one at the time, so to speak. And then to your other point, which is, who is the best suited to be in that situation? Because it can be stressful. It can be a situation where we are grieving It can be a situation where, there are health concerns. There can just be any number of things that are sort of surrounding those circumstances when we have to make difficult decisions about healthcare and finances. So who's the person who's most suited for that? People often say, well, it needs to be the oldest child. And maybe it will be the oldest child, but maybe it would be your niece who's a CPA, who's removed from the situation and could make, a wise financial choice, is close to your family and loves you and cares for you and wants the best for you, but is not so immediately intertwined that they are clouded by a financial need themselves or healthcare issues themselves or the stress and the grief of what might be going on.
Yeah.
It's not always the case, but it can be wonderful if we have a third party, so to speak, just to be general guidance and wisdom for us when we're making those difficult decisions.
Yeah. And a lot of decisions, am I right, that a lot of decisions can be ironclad?
Yes, I think so. I think that if we take the time and you said earlier people don't want to do this. People don't want to talk about it. People don't want to come to my office.
Yeah.
I recognize that. But if we can take the time and we can think through the possible what-if scenarios, and, in my faith, I don't like to dwell in all the what-ifs because that doesn't really help us.
Sure.
We're not supposed to worry about tomorrow. We can't control all of those things.
Right.
I'll give a little bit of a caveat to that, which is that if we're sitting down in the office, all I'm trying to do is brainstorm, if you will, of if that happened, what would you want? If this person were unavailable and couldn't make a decision, we don't need to think about the whys and hows. We just need to say, if not that person, or if it's not me, who do I trust to do what I would do? And the more that we can plan that out, as you say, it can become ironclad. We can really lock it in so that it can't be changed.
Yeah.
Or if we need a situation where we need some flexibility, we need somebody to be able to update a beneficiary on life insurance because we never got around to changing it after our spouse passed away maybe. Or we need somebody to be able to update a deed for our house so that our spouse is listed on there so that it will pass to them outside of probate, as we say. Those things, they're important decisions, but if we have somebody who we trust, we've had the important conversations, we know our values align, we don't have to be worried that they're going to do something we don't want, but they have the ability to act if they need to.
Yeah, so preventative. Yeah. And so let's look at the scenario of a relatively younger person that gets dementia, and the onset is very rapid, and they struggle through it, and as we hear in a lot of situations, through the lighthouse representatives and medical industry, that they may hide it for a period of time, but the onset, and it's there, and you have to do something pretty quickly with a 50, 60-year-old person, somebody in good physical health, but all of a sudden mentally they're challenged.
Right.
What do you do to help them and help the situation?
So it's important to know that even with a diagnosis, even with having a diagnosis for a period of time, we often can still sign documents. There are some legal standards for competency. And as long as I can have a meeting with the client, explain the documents that we're drafting, feel like they have an understanding of what it means to sign a will, what property they own, what they want to happen to it, who they want to be in charge, who they want to be over their finances, who they want to be over healthcare decisions. If they can articulate that in a moment of clarity where one-on-one with me, they understand it, then we can execute those documents. We can sign those documents. So it's not always a situation where we cannot sign a power of attorney, we cannot sign a healthcare directive, we cannot sign a will or even a trust. But sometimes we do get past that point. Sometimes when we're in the meeting and we've had a conversation and then 5 to 10 minutes goes by and then we can't recall that we've already discussed these things the last 10 minutes, then we've reached a point where we can't sign documents. And that is not ideal, but we can still work with that situation. And in that situation, the family members have to get involved and we pursue what's called a guardianship or conservatorship in the probate court. Now, to be clear, a guardianship or conservatorship is not an ideal thing. We don't want to have to go to court. And so that's why I go back to, let's have those documents in place where we name the people that we trust, that if that happened to us, they can make those decisions, because then we alleviate that. We don't have to go to court to get somebody named. But if we don't have those documents in place, I also want families to know that there's something we can do to try to help take care of our loved ones so that they're not vulnerable to scams. They're not vulnerable to maybe an estranged family member coming back in the picture and trying to come in and go to the bank and get on accounts, and then lo and behold, we've lost all our savings. We can prevent those things from happening, but it does sometimes take quick action. So for somebody who either wants to plan ahead before we have any type of diagnosis at all, I really encourage you to do that. I know it's difficult and I know it's not fun, but if you take the time, you are truly giving yourself a gift, and you're giving your family and your loved ones a gift as well. If you have a diagnosis, if you think, maybe I have a history of a family member who's had something like that happen.
Yes.
Or if you start to notice within yourself,
Yes.
I'm starting to become more forgetful. You know, I know it's vulnerable. I know it's a tough thing to admit. Just make the appointment, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else who can provide estate planning services. I don't want you to feel like if you go to the attorney to talk about a will that you're resigning yourself, that it's all over now. That's
Yeah.
not the case at
At all.
It's not the case at all. And I do think some people go into it with like, once I sign that will, I'm basically, you know, picking out my burial arrangements.
Yeah.
Although I would say it might be a good idea to do that too, because that takes pressure off your
Right.
family too.
Absolutely.
But I don't want to, you know, joke too much about it. But it is, I think, for some people, it's like, well, I'm signing up to pass away now, and that's not the case at all.
Look
It's-
how many times some people change their will in the course. They may wait till later and say, oh, at 50, at 60, at 65, and then they'll change it again.
Yes.
And change it again. They may be, the lifespan is very long now. And just within a few short years, things can change. You go back and you change that will. It's not a final document in the fact that you can't change it.
Absolutely. We say it is an ambulatory document. It walks with us throughout our life. So as our life circumstances change, as you know, children are born, as grandchildren are born, as things happen in our life, we want to revisit it. We want to make any changes, and it is easy to change.
Yeah.
So I always encourage people, let's get something down first. Let's get something written down that expresses your wishes. All we can do is, based on what we know today, put something down on paper that we feel comfortable with. And then if that changes, we change the document. It's really not difficult. I think sometimes people just are afraid to get started. And I think if you just start with a conversation, you'll start to feel much more comfortable.
Yeah. And if you're someone who is faced with what you know is the onset of something that's serious for you, then you can be proactive before you get to that point. If you see the signs, and it has to be a very tough situation, but so many people around us have been faced with that. And some have been proactive, some have put it off and not. But while you can, you want to take care of your family, you want to take care of your wishes, how you want things to be handled with your livelihood, with what you've accomplished in your life and what you want for your family. So if you get to that point, don't feel like you don't have anyone. You have people like Meg that will help you, competent professionals, someone who has studied elder care, someone who's studied trust, wills, and every aspect of it that'll be able to advise you and your loved one, or just you if you get in that situation, and just be a good thing to do for you and your family. We all want to take care of those we love.
Absolutely. And also take care of ourselves. You know, the things that you've worked for and sacrificed for, I certainly understand people want those to pass to other people, family members, or even their church or charitable organizations. So we want to do that, absolutely, but we want to make sure you're taken care of too, and that you have the best quality of life that you possibly can have, maybe through a declining health diagnosis. We want to make sure that your resources work for you. And if we plan ahead, we can create a strategy that's going to do that, that's going to maximize what you've worked for, preserve it as much as we can, and make sure that you're taken care of. But really the best way to do that is to plan ahead, is to go ahead and get started. Like I said, and like we've continued to say, people don't want to call and schedule that appointment. People don't want to think about all the what ifs. And I certainly understand that. But if you maybe approach it from the angle of, I want to make sure that my health is taken care of, just like we go to our annual physicals to get our blood work done and check on our heart and check on all those things that keep our body going. We want to do a physical for our finances and for our financial health in the future. Just evaluate what we have, make a plan, be strategic so that we don't have to worry about that anymore. We don't have to wake up in the night thinking about, how is my family going to pay for this? How is this going to be taken care of? Because we've already planned it out and we know it's taken care of.
Great. Take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Tom Dominy. Here at Dublin with Nelson, we pride ourselves on providing the industry's highest quality products at the most competitive pricing. We are a full-service wholesaler specializing in plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products. With a staff that collectively offers more than 50 years of expertise, our team knows your industry, and we can answer your questions and help you get the parts and equipment you need. From mowing to Renee, we carry the plumbing, irrigation, and industrial products you need from the brands you trust. We also carry a great lineup of Milwaukee tools. At Dublin with Nelson, our goal is the long-term success of your business. We achieve that goal with a simple commitment, doing things right, one customer at a time. If you have a question, or if you're looking for a hard-to-find part, give us a call. Our experts are ready to help. Order online, give us a call, or come by at 507 Airport Road in Dublin. We're committed to building long-term relationships with our customers by earning your business every day.
Farmers State Bank is a proud sponsor of the Lighthouse Telethon and would like to recognize Nelda Knight and her lifetime of service and support to the Lighthouse Adult Daycare Center. Nelda worked to establish the Lighthouse at 611 Bellevue Avenue in Dublin and to provide excellent care for those with Alzheimer's and dementia. Farmers State Bank is a proud sponsor of the Lighthouse Telethon and remembers Nelda Knight and all those who have given to the Lighthouse Adult Daycare Center. Georgia Pools is your authorized dealer of RecTech grills. From smoking to searing, RecTech grills do it all. So come into Georgia Pools today and grab life by the horns. We also carry all the Yeti products you could need: coolers, tumblers, cups, and more. Find all of this and more at Georgia Pools. Call 478-275-3607 today or come on in to 1201 Hillcrest Parkway in Dublin. Georgia Pools, your authorized RecTech dealer.
At Jacuzzi Bath Remodel of Middle Georgia, we're about building more than beautiful bathrooms. We're about building relationships. We do that with our customers by treating them the way we want to be treated. For decades, the Jacuzzi brand has been synonymous with trust and quality. Well, we're excited about bringing that excellence to homeowners right here in Middle Georgia with every shower and bathtub remodel.
Our sole focus is bathtubs and showers, making us the true experts in the field. We promise you an experience and a dream bath space you'll want to tell your friends and family about. Stop by our showroom and see what we're all about. We're located at 704 Industrial Boulevard in Dublin, Georgia.
Hi, this is Meg Greer Evans with Middle Georgia Estate Planning, and while we're thinking about Alzheimer's Awareness Month, I just want to encourage you or your family member to take a look at your estate plan, maybe pull your will out that you made 20 years ago. Make sure you've got an updated power of attorney and healthcare directive so that your loved ones can properly follow your wishes to take care of you. If you need help with any of that, we'd be glad to help you. You can give us a call at 478-272-2885.
Progressive Rural Telephone Co-op offers a full range of communication products and services to its members in Lawrence County and surrounding areas. We take pride in being your total communications provider, and we work hard to provide quality services at the best prices. In addition to offering phone service, we provide high-speed internet and digital high-def TV. And we always strive to put our members first. Progressive Rural, your total communications company. Small enough to know you, large enough to serve you. ProgressiveTel.com. Call 478-984-4201 or stop by 890 Simpson Avenue in Rents. Progressive Rural Telephone Co-op. So Meg, if we look at the vast majority of people in our community, many people don't feel like they have a lot. But you help people of all stages of life, don't you?
Absolutely. It's so funny. I would say most every single person that comes into my office starts with the caveat of, I don't have a lot and this is going to be really simple. Every single person says that. Yeah. And I say, I hope so. But if it's not, that's okay too. Yeah. But you're so right, which is it doesn't really take a lot, whatever your definition of a lot is, and I think we all tend to kind of undervalue it. Yes. It doesn't take a lot to need to plan for it. Whether it is a home, whether it is some family land that's been passed down to you and you own even a partial interest in it. Whether that is your retirement, an IRA, a 401k, something from a job, whether it's just some savings that you've been able to save up and you want it to be there for a particular reason for you, or a particular gift for a person, for tuition for school, or to help them buy their first car, whatever those goals are, whatever amount it is, if we take the time to plan for it, then we know we're, achieving the goal that you have for those assets, instead of the state of Georgia controlling what happens to those things. Because if we're really talking about long-term care and we're talking about possibly needing Medicaid because we've gone into a nursing home, then the state rules, the Medicaid regulations say, well, we're just spending all of our assets down until we don't have any, very, very little, less than $2,000 in the bank, and then we can apply for Medicaid. Well, we don't necessarily want to have to do that if we don't have to.
Right.
So that's the key of planning ahead, is to prevent that from happening.
Yeah, so, and we do, as Southerners especially, we play down what we have, and some of us don't have very much. That's all right too, but what we have, we should be good stewards of. We should make sure that it's applied in the right way. We should get the professional advice that we need. I just want to make the point that you don't have to be sitting on $1 million. You don't have to have $500,000. You may have a savings account, a life insurance policy, and you may have a child that you want to make sure that goes to, and not another family member, not a ex or separated person in the family. There are many scenarios in life that happen.
Absolutely.
And you should think through that and get the proper advice so you make sure that you're even though you say it's a meager amount of money in the bank, you want it to go to who you want it to go to.
Absolutely. And to protect the home, so you mentioned having a home, so you can qualify for needs-based benefits like Medicaid and own a home. What many people don't realize is that after you've received Medicaid and after you pass away, the state of Georgia will file a claim against that home. So you might have a home that you've paid off, it's been long paid off, that you're counting on, well, I don't have a lot of savings, I'm counting on maybe having to spend that savings and use that savings to pay for burial and things like that. Well, let's do that. Let's plan. Let's set aside the money for burial funds. Let's use the money that you want to for your health care. But if you want to protect that house, we need to be very strategic about it, because if we don't do something, the state of Georgia will get the proceeds from the sale of that home after you pass away, and it won't be able to pass to family members. And I see that, unfortunately, very often. I work with families all the time to try to help their loved one either get qualified for Medicaid or just review their assets to say, yes, you do qualify for Medicaid, you can go ahead and apply. But so often when I do that, I have to give the caveat that, but once your loved one gets on Medicaid after they pass away, you all as a family need to be prepared that you may not be getting that family home as your inheritance, because the state of Georgia might file a claim against it and you might have to use the proceeds from a sale in order to pay that claim off. And often I hear people say, well, goodness, I wish we would have thought about this sooner. And I don't like to live in that world of would have, could have, should have, but this maybe is your inspiration to say, let's think ahead and plan ahead to take some steps to protect it so that ourselves or our family members aren't looking back and saying, goodness, I wish I would have done this sooner. Because with Medicaid, there is a 5-year look back, meaning if I give away or transfer or move assets and then I apply for Medicaid within 5 years of that, my application will be denied. So we don't just want to think to ourselves, oh, well, let's just get rid of everything and let's deed our house and let's add our kids to our bank accounts. That may not actually be achieving what you want it to achieve. It may create more problems than good if you're not doing it thoughtfully and with an attorney or someone who is really well-versed in the rules and how all of that works. But that 5-year look back can really create problems for people, and you haven't really protected anything. You've just really put yourself in a worse position sometimes.
Yeah, get good advice, ladies and gentlemen. Get in touch with Meg. She'd be glad to help you set up an appointment. Just come in and evaluate, talk about where you are. So it's Alzheimer's Awareness Month. The Lighthouse does an excellent job in serving our community. Clients go there during the day. Monday through Friday, they're able to have a nurse on call, many activities, a beautiful place to visit, interaction. It's so important for us at any point in our life to have time with the family, to have work time, of course, but then to have alone time, to have time that we go to another place and we're with ourselves and just have that time. And it's also important for people who have dementia. So, and it's important for the caregivers. So you can get in touch with the Lighthouse. You can take advantage of their services. You can support it by contacting the Lighthouse or us here at TV35. And we thank people like you, Meg Greer Evans.
Well, I thank you so much. I'm so thankful for the Lighthouse and everything that they do. They have served so many of my clients and their families for many years. And you mentioned caregivers. I work with so many caregivers in the family, and the Lighthouse is just invaluable for them. And we're so grateful for all the services they provide.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us right here on TV35.
Rehab Advantage and Sports Medicine is a proud sponsor of the Lighthouse Adult Daycare Center Telethon. If you need physical or occupational therapy, come in and meet our friendly staff today, including John Martin, Kevin Woods, Ross Miles, Jason Matthew, Holby Holmes, Taylor Brent, or Olivia Martin. If you want effective, exceptional physical therapy and outstanding results, discover Rehab Advantage and Sports Medicine. Call today at 478-275-1800.
Summer's here, so check out our hot deals at Roach Farm and Garden. Wore out pants and shoes? Come in Roach Farm and Garden. We got Carhartt pants, Ariat, Rocky, and Georgia boots. We even carry handcrafted leather belts. Tired of eating out? Stay home and cook with a new Primo smoker, a pellet grill, Pit Boss griddles, or Bayou Classic fryer. We even carry flavored pellets and the homemade barbecue sauces. Summer heat is already here. Stay cool with a barrel fan from Roach Farm and Garden. Several sizes to choose from gardening to livestock and a whole lot more. Roach Farm and Garden, 2 locations, Dublin and Wrightsville.
Strickland's Boots is locally owned and operated at our new location by Rodney and Martha Strickland, and where you'll always be greeted with a friendly smile. You'll find quality boots for safety, work, hunting, casual, or western. Choose from names like Rocky, Lacrosse, Danner, Georgia, Durango, Ariat, Double H, Wolverine, Twisted X, Thorogood, Dan Post, Laredo, Cat, Carhartt, and many more. You'll find boots for the whole family, from the little ones on up. You're always greeted like family and get fast, friendly service. Strickland sizes all new customers and tracks sales so future purchases can be as fast and simple as a phone call and pickup. Strickland's is where customer service really counts, and you'll feel like family when you leave. So stop by Strickland's Boots today at our new location, 1927 Highway 441 South in Dublin, and see why Strickland's Boots has been family owned and operated for over 50 years.